Hello boys and girls, wherever you are. So you're looking for a replica of a carbine, AEG, and you're wondering, do I need something short or something longer? Well, today I'm gonna try to give you an answer using the same replicas, which are different only with few centimeters of barrel length. We've got here H23 and H22 by Specna Arms. So let's go! Let's start with things they both got in common. We'll start from the stock. It's adjustable and made of polymer. If you unscrew this notch, you can disassemble the whole stock tube, and then you've got access to spring guide. Yep, quick spring change in the box. The gearbox is identical, all the parts are the same, even MOSFET made by Gate. We've got here ASTER, very popular MOSFET made by Polish manufacturer. So, up to here, they are identical. What's the difference is a length of handguard and outer and inner barrel. And that sometimes is a lot of a difference. So I've got here H22 with two additional items like a flashlight and red dot sight, which I could mount on the top rail. As you can see, there are no rails on the side or on the bottom, but there are special threaded holes on which I could install wrist rails for extra stuff. Now, it's a short replica. If I put the stock all the way down, it makes even shorter. So for CQB, very, very comfortable. You can get in all those narrow spaces without any problem. It will not hit anything with the barrel, and still long enough to be working in the wooden terrain. I really like this replica a lot. But what if I wanted to use H22 in CQB conditions? Alright, so this one is 10 centimeters longer, so I must say that for me it's getting a bit too long in those narrow spaces, narrow corridors, especially if I decided to make a stack on my favorite length, like about so. It would be quite uncomfortable, but still possible to operate in closer quarters. Okay, so let's say that it's still not too long for CQB, but what if I need to illuminate my BBs and use tracer, like this one by Specna Arms. With H22, the length is almost identical as H23 without the silencer. Now, here, well, it gets a bit too long. But, of course, you can use a hop-up chamber, which will deal with tracer BBs. So, still good to go. What's that? I've got a scope on this H23. That means probably that I'm going to try to reach the end of the effective range of this replica. And here's where this 10 centimeters of internal barrel may be important, because with a longer barrel of the same diameter and quality, like in those two guys, you have a bit more accurate replica, and it's very useful if you want to have a bit more FPS in your gun. For example, if you wanted to turn it into DMR. Ta-da! Now, what I would also need would be a bipod, so I would need to add also the at least short wrist rail using those threaded holes. Now, for wooden terrain, this is a perfect DMR. But would I also be able to do the same with H22? Well, yes. I'll show you how. Now, what happened here? I've got H23 in two pieces and there is no hop chamber and no internal barrel. Where could they go? Yes, of course, they're in this shorter replica and the internal barrel is sticking out. So, if I use a silencer or tracer like this one, I could cover this barrel and then have one replica and two sets of barrels, longer for those longer distances and shorter for the CQB. And it would be quite universal, but there would be a little disadvantage. So when internal barrel sticks out from the outer barrel, it sometimes wobbles a little bit. If it's a much longer, it wobbles more. So you need to take this into consideration, because then with a longer barrel you could, well, lose your accuracy. So think about that, so be sure it's not wobbling. And of course, if you choose very long barrel, you will need to replace the cylinder. And then is a question, should I have a cylinder for long barrel or short barrel? And my solution is, because I use that kind of set very often, to choose the cylinder with a longer barrel, because if you lose some accuracy or some power in CQB, it's not that important. Usually you don't need so much precision on those shorter distances, which you do need when you're using scope and want to have DMR. So this is a partial solution. Alrighty then, now what I need to do is to replace that barrel again, and what you need to do is to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment and hit the bell. And you're gonna hate me for what I say next. This kind of solution is good, but it's not perfect. It's always better to have more than one replica, just in case if your only main one breaks, because everything has its lifespan. So, see you again in another episode of Gunfire TV, in which I'm gonna try to answer more questions about airsoft and life and stuff.